High on DFW Restaurant Week with Jim White, brought to you by Metroplex Cadillac Dealers.
All right. Hi, I'm David Holben, and welcome to the kitchen at Del Frisco's. We are so excited for 2014 Restaurant Week coming up in August. And now you're going to get a little preview of one of the items that we're going to be featuring. So let's come into the kitchen and let's get started. We are going to make some creamer peas. These creamer peas come from a farm right outside of Canton. Okay, these are creamer peas and they are from Sides Farm in Canton, Texas. So we like to do some nice local products here. We're going to start out by chopping a little bit of onions. Okay, so of course when you're cutting, always keep those fingers back. Make a cut down through. We're going to do a little small dice of onions here. And then you can just run your knife through just a little bit to make sure they're all nice, uniform inside. Next, we are going to take some bacon. I have to go get the bacon. Okay, I just pulled this bacon out of the freezer. You want to keep it in the freezer for maybe 15 minutes before. It's so much easier to cut very chilled bacon than it is soft bacon. So then it's not slippery from the bacon fat. So we're just going to cut the bacon in nice dice strips all the way through. Make sure you have a nice sharp knife. Cut that into little squares. Make sure you're getting all the way through. You can use whatever flavor of bacon you want. This is a little apple cured bacon. So we're going to take this now and we're going to put it into the pan and render it. Turn that on our flame. Want about a medium-high heat. So we're going to let that render. We're going to switch out our cutting boards here. Okay, now we're going to take some celery. All right, we're going to take the stalk of celery, which is washed. All right, we're going to cut it in little strips. Again, just about the same size as our bacon. This all the way down through. All right, and after we do our celery, we're going to do our carrots. In French, this is called a matignon of vegetables, which is like a mirepoix, except it's a little bit smaller of a dice, which a mirepoix is a little bit bigger. And again, you see I stood up my carrot on the top, because if you do this, it's rolling around, and it's very difficult to cut. So we're going to take the carrot, cut those into dice, just like the celery, and the onions. All right. Now we have our onions, our celery, and our carrots. Our bacon is rendering. You want that fat to come out of the bacon because we're going to use that to cook our onions and our celery. Voila. Just like Julia Child would say, here we go. So now we have our bacon that's nicely rendered, okay? So we have our bacon fat, which is delicious and of course extremely healthy. But we're going to take and render off our bacon, or take our bacon out of the rendered bacon fat. Okay, and we don't need all that, so we're going to tip out a little bit. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take our onions and we're going to cook our onions in that bacon fat. And we're going to sweat the onions. Okay? When you sweat something, you want the moisture to come out without color, so you want to cook without color. We're going to add our celery. And one way to help sweat is to add salt, because if you add salt to something, it will let the moisture, extract the moisture. So now we're going to let this cook slowly until it starts to sweat and cook until it's translucent. While our onions and celery are sweating, we're going to take our peas, and now these are nice fresh peas. Okay, but one thing with any legume, fresh legume like that, is you got to make sure that you go through, because you're going to have some, since there's so many, okay, you got a few brown ones here, and sometimes you might even get a little pebble in there. So you just got to go through and sort out the ones that might be a little bit brown. And now we're going to take these beautiful creamers. Creamers are delicious just because of the name. They're real creamy in consistency when they're cooked, and they don't take long. They only take about 15, maybe 12 to 15 minutes to cook. So we're going to add our creamers. And then we're going to add a little bit of fresh chicken stock. And we're going to let these braise in the chicken stock for, like I said, just about 12 to 15 minutes, just until those peas are tender. While our peas are braising in the chicken stock, we're going to take a little bit of fresh chives. The same thing with your chives, you know, always go through. I mean, it's a nature, it's a thing of God, so you got to go through and make sure you pull out any yellow ones or ones that are a little bit wilty. All right, we're going to just straighten off those tips, and I like to use the nice thin young chives. So we're going to take these guys, again keeping our knuckles back, and make some really beautiful thin chives, chopped chives to garnish. Peas are almost done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to add our carrots. That way our carrots are not going to be overcooked, and yet we get that beautiful bright color, the bright orange color. And we're going to add our bacon back in, so all those flavors are going to meld together. So we'll let those cook for about additional 5 or 6 minutes. So then after they cook for about 12 to 15 minutes, you want to give it a little taste, all right? Just to see how the consistency of that pea. They're right there. So now we're going to finish that with just a little bit more salt and pepper. We added some in the beginning, and that's very important also, because when we sweated it, we added that salt and pepper, and then that soaks, that seasoning stock soaks into the peas, which is very important. So, and it's great to source out the beautiful fresh vegetables that you can get at the store right now, and in the springtime, summertime, and that's what we try to do at Del's. So we're going to put our peas in our serving dish, top it off with a little bit of that broth. Look at that. And then we're going to finish it with our chopped chives. And we got a beautiful side dish for Restaurant Week. Beautiful creamer peas from Canton, Ohio, Sides Farms. Nice local Texas ingredients. Come in to see us at Del Frisco's during Restaurant Week. Experience a great dish, a great meal. Hope to see you then.
Brought to you by Metroplex Cadillac Dealers.